नमो नमस्ते गुरवे महात्मने विमुक्तसंगाय सदुत्तमाय नित्याद्वयानन्दरसस्वरूपिणे भूम्ने सदा पारदयाम्बुधाम्ने नमस्ते नमस्ते विभो विश्वमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते चिदानन्दमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते तपोयोगगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रुतिज्ञानगम्य स्वाराज्य साम्राज्य विभूतिरेषा भवत्कृपा श्रीमहिमप्रसादात् प्राप्ता मया श्रीगुरवे महात्मने नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमस्तस्मै सदैकस्मै कस्मै चिन्महसे नमः यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते। Hari Om Tat Sat. I think again there was a gap of 1 week, something else. That is in a way good, to forget and recapitulate. To see what I have already spoken on Taittiriya, I was going through the last episode. I found that it was discussed in great detail, great depth, etc. So we have to see them repeatedly to understand whatever is being disclosed later on going forward. We'll start with the Shanti Mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Om Sahana Vavatu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So we were in the Brahmananda Valli, that is the second section. Actually it is the first Anuvaka, but they number it sometimes as the second, because the Shanti Mantra is the first Anuvaka. Om Brahma Vidapnoti Param.
Om ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परम्
ॐ ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परम्
ॐ ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परम्
तदेषाभ्युक्ता
तदेषाभ्युक्ता
सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म
सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म
यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां
यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां
परमे व्योमन्
परमे व्योमन्
सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सः
सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सः
ब्रह्मणा विपश्चिता इति.
ब्रह्मणा विपश्चिता इति.
This is the first part of this Anuvaka. I have already explained. I will just in gist I will mention that the first statement itself is like a Mahavakya. It's Brahmavit apnoti param. The knower of Brahman attains the Supreme. Now here itself, as I was explaining the last day of this Taittiriya, that immediately it should strike our mind that what is this knowing then? Brahmavid, vid is for knowing. Apnoti param. Whenever we know something, we don't attain something generally. Well, if you know some nidhi is there and you extract and you get money, but you don't change by that. You don't become the whatever you have received. Even in knowledge also, if we discover certain things in science or in any other things, we attain some knowledge in that. We don't become that. Then what are they referring to? That Brahmavid apnoti param, that he attains the Supreme. So it means that this knowledge is something different from our usual knowledge. The usual knowledge is everything we are knowing as an object before me. I am the jnata, I am the knower, or whatever I am knowing is known. There is a difference between the jnata and jnana. So, when we know something, we don't become that. But in this case, the whole spirituality rests on the knowledge of ourself, which is my real identity. It is our Atma. It is a knowledge about the Atma. So, it assumes right in the beginning that we don't know what is our real identity. Although we say I, we don't have a clear idea about I. This is the first thing. Otherwise, why should we have to know I? Everybody knows. If they don't know anything also, they know their I. Is it not? Even if I don't know anything, I say I don't know anything. That not knowing is known by the I, that everybody knows. But what is that real identity that we don't know about? That is the first thing. Now, here as we grow with the knowledge of our real identity, the feeling of the I we have, that undergoes a certain change. That is what they are meaning, apnoti param. And finally what happens? We know that this I cannot be known as an object before us, as different from us. It can only be known as the amness, as what I am. When there is no difference of knower and knowledge, no difference of subject and object. That is the strangeness of this knowledge. That should strike us immediately. Whenever we are saying that knower of Brahman attains Supreme, it means this knowledge is not a knowledge about anything, any concept which is different from our own identity. It's a knowledge of our own identity. And when we know it, it is identifying with that real identity of our I. Normally we behave with the I, which is posited by our ego. I am different from all others. This is my body, this is my creation, this is my write-up, this is my lecture, this is my book, this is my property. All are restricted to the body-mind limited personality I and connected to that. Everything else is different from I. So this I is a constricted projection of our egoistic constricted mind. So the whole sadhana is to get rid of these constrictions, so that that constricted ego gets dissolved in the real I, and that I becomes revealed. So it's a great discovery for us. It's the greatest, not great, it is the greatest discovery in life. It is the greatest discovery in the world also. That we discover, I am not limited by my body, mind, personality. Everywhere I am, in everything I am, and everything is in me. That is why in the scriptures you repeatedly find these statements, in Bhagavad Gita also. Atpaupamena sarvatra samam pashyanti jayojjuna. In Bhagavad Gita there are others also. Many others are there. Yada bhuta prithak bhavam ekastham anupashyati tata evacha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. It is in 13th chapter, 30th verse. Yada bhuta prithak bhavam ekastham anupashyati. That this separateness we always have, that I am different from all others and this is mine and others are not mine. When this differential notion gives way and ekastham anupashyati, the whole being rests in the oneness, where everything is what I am and I am in everything. Not I am in everything. There is nothing other than I at all. Tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Then that is called the expansion. The expansion, as we always speak about, sadhana means expansion. We are using two words. One is sublimation, another is expansion. Sublimation means the impurities. We have a feeling that whenever by some thought, some experience, we feel that I have become sky-like. All the draws from the mind, the constrictions from the mind, they simply fall off. Actually in science, sublimation means, it is called urdhapatana. That means from the solid, when you heat or in case of camphor, it directly becomes vapor. Say camphor. From the solid state, it simply vaporizes, it goes to the vapor state. It doesn't pass through the melting liquid state. That is called the process of sublimation. That means from solid gross state to spacious, the airy state. So this sublimation word in our scriptures we are using, not scriptures in English we are using, to express that feeling, that you will have a feeling that as if the grossness has gone, I am just simply floating in air, or I have become sky-like. Inside we feel there is a sky-like feeling. So the expansion also is like that. That we only when the mind expands and we feel for others, we don't become so selfish, self-centered and all. We feel this sublimation, and at the parallelly we feel an expansion of ourselves. So that is what they are saying, tata evacha vistaram. The mind really expands at that point. Brahma sampadyate tada. Now what is the ultimate level of this expansion? That the mind becomes the Brahman. The Atma is already Brahman, but we don't know that Atma. Whatever we are knowing by our mind. And the mind being small, constricted, everything we know is becoming constricted. This we have been discussing all along. That how will you know which is infinite or which is absolutely pure? As long as the mind does not become pure, even for a moment, we will not be able to visualize purity. Even for a few minutes, if the mind remains pure, then we will be able to understand what is purity. Again, it may become impure, but to understand the purity, unless the mind attains that level of purity, we will not understand. That is why people make mistakes in judging somebody who is much beyond their level. Say a saint, worldly people will always try to understand the saint also by their worldly judgment, because their mind is restricted, is constricted by the worldly things. So they will not be able to understand the mind, the thoughts of the saintly thoughts, saintly. At least if for some time also, if the mind gets over those constrictions, then they will be able to have a touch of that saintliness also. So what happens here, they are clearly saying how it is happening. This shloka is extremely important. We should have it by heart. Brahmavid apnoti param. That means this with, this jnana, this knowing is not like any of the objective knowing we are used to, that I am the subject, I am knowing the whole objective world. It is different from that. It is knowing myself when the subject-object difference has completely merged into oneness. Then he says, about this there is a shloka, tad esha abhyukta. About this it has been said. What has been said? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. This I have explained in detail. The three aspects of the truth, that is Satya, means which is never changing, which is not different any time. Whatever is, it is. Now, it is said easily, but if you look for it, you won't get even a single thing in the whole of creation which does not undergo any change. Even the space, time, nothing. So it that not undergoing any change is the substratum on which the whole world is appearing to be, the consciousness which never changes. My body was small, my mind was like this, now my body has grown, I have become old, now the mind is thinking like this. All these changes, the buddhi was sharper, now it has become dull. All these changes of the body, mind, buddhi, emotion, always changing, every moment changing. On what? How are we knowing this change? To know any change, there has to be a non-changing substratum. That is the consciousness which sees without changing itself. That is why we know that these changes are going on. So, Satyam means which will never change. Now, such a Satya you will not get anywhere in the creation. It is only our own identity, I, which never undergoes any change, on which the whole world goes on playing, appearing to be. Jnanam, I have already said that Brahmavid apnoti param. Now means the Brahma Jnana. This Jnana is not a Jnana where subject-object division is there. It is Advaya Jnana, it is called, non-dual knowledge, where the subject-object duality is not there. That is the aspect of Brahman. See how they are making the whole concept experiential before us, real before us. That normally, it is Satya. That means, no, it should not change, it should not change. I am 10% sure when most of you are thinking, you will think that in something in mind, either the sky or something, that which never changes. There is nothing, everything changes. There is only one which is not a thing, on which all the things appear. That is the changeless substratum of the entire creation. That is Satyam. Then Jnanam is not any of the jnanas we generally get about the objective world. It is only when the whole objective world gets dissolved in the consciousness and the consciousness is revealed. That is called the non-dual knowledge or Advaya Jnana. That is the Brahman. And Anantam, infinitude. Again, infinity, when we say, we will try to explain infinity mathematically or physically in various ways. No. We are talking about the infinite space. Infinity means when there is no limit, no boundary, is it not? Now, we don't find any limit for the space, any boundary of the space. But this space is what I am knowing. So, between the I, the subject, and the object space, there is a boundary. The space is not subject before us. Do you get my point? The space is an objective reality before us. And when I am thinking of I am knowing the space, that I is the subjective reality. So, the subject-object division is still there. So, although it is the so-called infinite objective space, it is not infinitude, it is not the real Ananta, where there is no Anta. There is an Anta at the subject point because it is not the subject. We call it Santa and Ananta. Ananta means which does not have any end. And Santa means Sa Anta, means which has got an end. So it has got an end. Only Ananta is the consciousness in which the whole world appears and disappears also. And you can never know this consciousness as something different from you. So all these are pointing out to a grave mistake most of the seekers are making. That you should never look for God different from you. You are never going to be successful then. So our tendency to always look for something different from me has to go. Here is the greatest hurdle that all the seekers are facing. Our tendency to look for God, look for Atma, look for Brahman. That means I am looking for something different from me. This very tendency to look for something different from me is making us small, making us a subject of the object we are looking for. So how will it go? It will not go as long as the effort to find out, effort to know is there. We have to become effortless. That is why surrender is given the highest position in sadhana. When we surrender our effort, then only the truth reveals. So, saying that, okay, I have understood that it is not in the creation, the Satya is not in the creation because it is never changing, Jnanam is not in the creation because it is the Advaya Jnana, no subject-object division, Anantam, no limit, this is also not in the creation. But how to find out? Do I go travel in the space to find out Brahman? No, because it is nowhere in the creation. So they are saying, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. You need not go outside at all. You have looked for everything outside. Throughout life you are running after things to find out what will make you happy. Never you have become happy. Still you run after things that this may make me happy, that may make me happy. We don't analyze, do not apply our Viveka Buddhi that if anybody would have become happy fulfilled by any of this, then I should have also become happy. We don't think that has anybody become happy in this world by becoming the richest person in the world, or the most powerful person in the world, or the most beautiful person in the world. No. So, don't look outside is the statement of the Upanishads. In Kathopanishad, in the second half section, it is saying, what is that? Pratyagan Parak. What is that? Nobody is there. Nowadays I forget the shlokas. This is the shloka which I always used to recite, but now it is all gone. And our sadhak sadhikas also, they have become so experienced, they only sleep always. There is nobody to help me. Kathopanishad. Arey, what is this? By this time I should have remembered. Paranchikhani vetrinat swayambhuhu tasmad parang pashyati nantaratma kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshata avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan. He says, Paranchikhani vetrinat swayambhuhu. I have said many times that Brahma, the creator, has created out of neglect, as if out of neglect, because it is a fate, that not a very good fate that we are suffering from. Paranchikhani, that means, kha means the indriyas. That they are all the 5 knowledge instruments we have, they are always paranchi, they are always looking outward. Vetrinath means actually that just like a blade of grass, out of neglect Brahma has created, with the indriyas always running outward. Tasmat parang pashyati nantaratma. That is why all of us, we are always looking outside, never looking inside. Who am I? Who is the seer of this world? Who is there who is revealing this world? We never see the world revealed, we are running after those always. Kaschid dhiraha, but there are some dhiraha, some vivekin, some viveka buddhi people. Amritatvam icchan, finding that whatever is outside, it is transient. Is it not transient? Everything is transient. We hold on to so many things. We forget that I may go away, or the other person also may go away. The building may fall, or I may die before the building falls. But still we hold on to this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So, we are always holding on to the transient things. Shastras call us matyaha. Matyaha means who is maranashila, who are mortal. But actually we are immortal. If we know our real identity, we are immortal. So that we look for this immortality, Shastras repeatedly remind us that you are mortal, you are mortal, you are mortal. So look for your real immortal identity. Na antaratma, parak pashyati na antaratma, nobody looks within. Kaschid dhiraha amritatvam icchan. They look for what is this unchanging. Well, I think that the I is unchanging, but it is not. The I know it becomes sukhi in sukha, it becomes dukhi in dukha, it becomes angry, it becomes peaceful. So the I know is also undergoing change. So is it the real I? Then who is knowing that sukhi I, dukhi I, the angry I, the peaceful I? So that I must be different from that, because this changing I also he is seeing. So what is that I which is not undergoing any change, where the immortality can be discovered? That can only be the immortal. Shinvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha. The rishis said that you are all children of immortality. So we should be able to find out the immortality, that we are immortal. So Kaschid Dhiraha Amritatvam Icchan Avritta Chakshuhu Pratyagaatmanam Aikshata. This is a statement of fact, Aikshata. They discovered, they saw, they discovered. What did they discover? Looking for immortality, they started looking within. Pratyagaatmanam Aikshata. They started looking within and they discovered the Pratyagatma. Now Pratyag and Parak. Pratyag means inward and Parak means outward. Now why are we saying it is Pratyagatma? Because outward it is the whole world, the objective world. To discover the Atma, we have to look within. Look towards where from that I sense is coming. Which is the real I, the purest form of the I, which is not undergoing Sukha Dukkha, but which is a revealer of Sukha Dukkha, which is a revealer of our mind, which is a revealer of our thoughts, revealer of our emotions, revealer of our buddhi also. So that is the Pratyagatma. We are calling it Pratyagatma because in the method of discovering it, there is looking inward. We are looking inward. But they are saying here very clearly, that is why I say that this should be taken by heart. They are saying, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. One who knows this Brahman which is hidden in the cave, Hrid Guha or Buddhi Guha, I explained the other day. It can be the emotional center of our being or the intelligential center of our being. That's our center of our being, Guha. Guha means it is not generally, I am not knowing it. You have to discover it there. But once as a Pratyagatma you focus within and you reach the central point, the Bindu, then what happens? Parame Vyoman. You discover that it is the supreme space. Vyoma means space, infinite, Ananta. Supreme space, Paramevo Vyoman. So that which you thought that it is a bindu right at the center of our heart or center of our I-ness, and you start looking within to find out, to reach that center. When you reach that center, automatically your mind becomes Tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Bhagavad Gita. Tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. When you reach there, you find that you have become infinite, and it is not the objective infinitude. It is where there is no difference of subject, object, nothing. You simply, the small I gets dissolved in the consciousness, the amness in us. See, in one line, how much they have said. Completely, they have revealed the whole step. If you are careful, if you read again and again and follow, try to understand it deeply, this is sufficient. We should not make any mistake. But what happens is that in reaching that point, even if you try to reach that point, that release does not happen because of the effortfulness. In meditation, those who are meditating, they say, Swamiji, पूरा तो thoughts कुछ नहीं है, thoughts have all gone. उसके बाद क्या है? So here, as we are finding out that apnoti param, that by knowing something you are attaining the supreme. From the word we have to discover what is this. It is not the ordinary knowing. From the word here also, if anybody asks that what is there after that, means he has not reached the point. Once you discovered that, nobody will ever ask what is beyond. He will be so fulfilled, so overwhelmed with it, and so much dissolved in it, so much joyous with it, that he will never ask further. That means in your effort there is a mistake. You are trying to concentrate, that is effortful. You are putting the effort to go down to your Atma, or whatever you have a concept. You have to release, you have to become effortless. What does it mean? Samarpana, Atma Samarpana, surrender. That is why surrender is given the highest place, not because of anything else. We are not able to surrender our egoistic effort. So that effort itself is making you small and making you look for something different from you. As long as that effort is there, one will not be successful. So that is how yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyuman. One who discovers this in the cavern of his heart, that the minutest point, parame vyuman, that there itself he becomes ananta, the same thing, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. This, the previous line, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. This is the discovery. Where? In the Hrid Guha, looking for the Pratyagatma. When you reach, it becomes Parame Vyoman. Soshnute Sarvan Kaman Saha. See, again, these are very, very indicative statements. When you fulfill any of your desires, there is a krama. Krama means you fulfill the, suppose you have the desire to have the first rank in the exam. You fulfill the desire and you get the first rank. Then the desire is to get a very good employment. When you get the employment, that is a fulfillment of the desire. Then another desire comes over, or fear, whatever, and that. So not normally all the desires are fulfilling one after another in the krama. Here he says the sarvan kaman saha. That means immediately all the desires get fulfilled. Now can it happen? Whatever desires you had throughout your life, all the desires will get fulfilled just in one getting into the Hrid Guha or Buddhi Guha. We should ask. So it is not like that. The question is that when all the desires get fulfillment, the desires become redundant. They get dissolved. Once we attain this oneness, where is the question of any desire? There is nothing other than you. The desire is coming, you feel that I am not that. So you are looking for something else. You feel that somebody else is that, you are looking for something else. When we feel that I alone am, and everywhere you are, can any desire come to the mind? So when desires all get dissolved, is it not equivalent to fulfillment of all desires? And what does the fulfillment of desire do? In a small case also, by fulfillment of a desire, you get joy, is it not? Now here you are getting into the source of all the Ananda. This Ananta, that infinitude, is as well Ananda. That I had explained in the previous class. That normally other statements, Mahavakyas are there, where Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam also is there. Satchidananda, the other day I explained. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Similar, Sat means the truth, which never changes. Chit means the consciousness. That means this knowledge is not an inert knowledge from the book. It is not an inert knowledge from anywhere. This knowledge, Jnanam, is Chit. Chit means in the form of consciousness. Our scientists have written thousands and thousands of years ago that the ultimate is in the form of knowledge, which is same as consciousness, Tadvaya Jnana. Sat Chit Ananda. Now, when you attain that infinitude, it is as well the Ananda also. In other places in Taittiriya, because this is called Brahmananda Valli, and it will talk more and more about Ananda. In the beginning, they have picked up the sentence of Ananta, Satyam, Jnanam, Ananta. Both are same. Whenever the mind expands, we get joy. You work with people forgetting your selfishness, envy and all that. Freely work in a team. You will get so much of joy. Is it not? Why? Because you expand yourself, you spread yourself amongst others. When you work for society or work for some poor people or work for somebody suffering, so much of joy you will get. Why? Because there you identify yourself with others. If you are generally we are not able to identify with others, that is why we don't get the joy. We are foolish people, what can be done? Where simply by loving another person we can get the joy. We are depriving ourselves from the joy by keeping ourselves shut and thinking, वो अच्छा नहीं है, वो हमें पसंद नहीं करते हैं. We are foolish. So in any expansion lies the joy. Just like I explained the sublimation, whenever our mind expands, we get the joy. So the maximum joy we will get when the mind fuses in the anantya, it becomes infinite. In the infinitude, there lies the Ananda also. That is why in Taittiriya later on I have said that Anandadhyeva khalvimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam pravishanti avisham vishanti. That the whole creation is actually born of Ananda. It is sustained by Ananda. It dies also, it goes into Ananda. It gets dissolved in Ananda. That means the whole creative process, when we say creative process means creation and destruction of the universe. Both are within the creative process. This is taking place in something which is called Ananda. It is, the whole creation is nothing, it is in consciousness only. Chiyate Brahma. What is that? Tapasa chiyate Brahma. Tatonnama vijayate. Tapasa, by austerity. What kind of austerity they will say? Tapasa chiyate Brahma. A change, a pulsation is taking place in the consciousness, the Brahman we are talking about. Chiyate means swelling, but actually some sort of a pulsation, some change. Because there is nothing, it is a consciousness only. And what is the austerity? It is not an austerity of fasting or standing on one leg or reading the scriptures. Nothing can be there, only consciousness. Tapasa chiyate Brahma, tato annam avijayate. This tapas is something giving rise to the objectude. Annam means annada and annam. Annam means whatever food. Annada means who is taking the food. So anna is, basically it is food, but actually is it not food for all? The whole universe is food for all our indriyas, all our sense organs, that we are actually perceiving the indriyas. That is the food we are taking, that is the anna, that's the subtle anna. So the whole objectude is born out of the tapas, the austerity of the Brahman or consciousness. Then in the next verse, Mundaka Upanishad is saying, Yas sarvajyaha sarvavidi yasya jnanamayam tapaha. See, they have revealed here that what is that tapas? It is jnanamaya. That means it is in the form of the non-dual knowledge itself. It is the knowledge. By that the whole creation is taking place. This Ananda is the whenever we are saying Ananda, is it not a feeling we have? We get the feeling when our mind expands, when our constrictions evaporate, when we love everybody, the whole world, the Ananda loses its boundary. So, it is that movement in the consciousness which is creating the whole world. And also, that movement is there in the destruction of the world also, which we don't accept generally. I don't want Mrityu, I want only Janma. Live with the Janma. Is it possible? As the birth is taking place, death also is the other side of the creation. So the whole thing, the creation and destruction, everything is taking place in the Ananda. That is why the knowers, they walk into the death joyously. Anand karo, marna bhi anand hai, jeena bhi anand hai, marna bhi anand hai. When they find that it is becoming a problem, they walk into the Ganges. Nobody prevents them. Pavhari Baba, it is said that when he felt that he may become a load on the people, because if he dies, what will the people do? They have to do the satkara for the body. So he did not want to burden the people with that also. So one day the people in the village, they found from the guha a smoke is coming out. When they went there, they found that Pavhari Baba had put the chitta. Chitta means the pyre. He has kept the pyre, set it on fire and lay on it, so that nobody has to burn his body. They are not afraid of death. Joyously they walk into death. So everything is Ananda. As the creation is Ananda, the destruction also is Ananda. And this is where the secret of creation and destruction is. Taittiriya will speak further about it also. So when we are picking up Ananta, the other day I explained that Shankaracharya has picked up the Mahavakyas. These 4 Mahavakyas we use for the 4 Vedas, they are actually selected by Shankaracharya. Before Shankaracharya, we hardly knew all these things existing in our... Only few people used to know. It was not available to the general people. So he has particularly, perhaps, these are all our surmises, selected Ananta only, not the Ananda part of it, because people make mistake. Thinking Ananda, they run after Ananda. So far they were running after worldly joy, now they run after some other joy which they may get from spirituality also. So not to delude them, he has picked up where that they are not attracted by any Ananda. But Ananda will automatically flood them. When the mind becomes Ananta, when the mind becomes infinite, then automatically it will be flooded with Ananda. That is why he said, so saha ashnute, he eats, he attains, sarvan kaman saha. Saha means together. All other kamas, all other desires are fulfilled in a krama, in a gradual manner, one after another, are not fulfilled also. But here, sarvan kaman, no desire can be left anymore, because he understands the fallacy of desire. By desiring for something, we are preventing the joy. It's wrong to think that by the fulfillment of the desire, we are getting the joy. Only by fulfillment of the desire, for some time the mind is free of desire, and if it is free of fear also, then we get a little bit of the joy. But if the mind is completely freed of the desire, then the mind will be flooded with joy. So when he attains this oneness, there is nothing to desire for, then automatically all their desires are dissolved, which is equivalent to say that all their kamas, all their desires are fulfilled together. How it is getting fulfilled? Brahmana Vipaschita iti. Tritiya they have used. By becoming Brahman, this Brahman word has come from Brihat, by the expansion. By becoming Brahman, there all desires are fulfilled together. By becoming Vipaschita, Vipaschit, other day I explained, I think. Vip, in Sanskrit, that vip, dhatu, it means pulsation, it means it is pulsation in English. And chit means to know. So Vipaschita means who is aware of the fundamental pulsation of nature, or the pulsation of Brahman. Actually Brahman is called Vipaschit, and the knower of Brahman also is called Vipaschit. Because their life, they are always aware of the fundamental truth. They are always aware of the consciousness in which all the solidity, grossness, everything is there. They are not hindered by the grossness of the world. Normally when you are good, there will be something spiritual and something non-spiritual. Something good, something bad. But for a realized person, everything is Brahman. So his mind vibrates, pulsates with the universality, with the all-embracing nature of Brahman. So all kamas are fulfilled for him. Brahmana Vipaschita iti. All these we have discussed. So let us go to the slide number 8. And this also I have explained today, 8, 9. The 10th slide you show, this I should have shown earlier. Vip, the dhatu, actually we write like this, that I could not get in the computer, so I have put the stroke only. It means pulsation of heart. And chi has come from to be aware. So Brahman itself, who knows the pulsation, where the Anandadhyeva Phalivani Bhutani Jayante, all this. Knower of Brahman also is Vipaschit. It is to be aware and be in tune with the pulse of Brahman or pulse of nature also. See, what happens to a person when he knows the truth? His all desires fall. And these desires actually make him constricted, make him effortful, so that his life does not become easy. The desires are preventing a person's life to flow with nature, to become svabhava, sarala, sahaja. We all call it sahaja. In spirituality, the bowels, their practice is called sahaja, we say. Their whole life is sahaja. They flow with nature, they sing, they dance, they whatever. They don't have any ambition, should not have any ambition, they should not have any desire, they flow like that. So it is the smallness of our mind which looks for something and creates a desire in the mind which does not allow us to become swabhavika, natural. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, this is discussed in the last chapter, in 18th chapter. What is swabhava karma, sahaja karma? A person becomes sahaja, he does whatever comes to be done only when his delusions have gone. Yada yat kartum ayati Tadatat kurute riju. Shubham vapi ashubham vapi tasya cheshta hi balavat. Like a child, he goes on doing whatever comes to be done. He doesn't even bother about what is Shubha and what is Ashubha. Whatever he does will be Ashubha in some sense or others. Apparently Ashubha work also will become Shubha if he does it. Because his mind doesn't have any smallness or constriction. He is in tune with infinitude. He is in tune with the fundamental rhythm of nature. There is a statement Roshopi nirmaladhyam ramaniya eva. Roshopi nirmaladhyam ramaniya eva. That is, anger of a pure-hearted person is also beautiful. Ramaniya means it's very beautiful, enjoyable. A pure-hearted person, his anger also is, call it anger or anything, Rosha, it's anger. We call it generally Rudramurti. That Mahadev, when he is destroying, we call it Rudramurti. But that is equally Ramaniya. So, one who is in tune with the fundamental rhythm of nature, for him, whatever he does is true. Whatever he does is Shubha in that sense. Now come to the 11th slide. That is the next portion of the shloka, Anuvaka. Tasmadva etasmadatmana.
Tasmadva etasmatmana.
Tasmadva etasmad.
Tasmadva etasmad.
Atmana akashasambhutah.
Atmana akashasambhutah.
Tasmadva etasmad.
Tasmadva etasmad.
Atmana akashasambhutah.
Atmana akashasambhutah.
Akashad vayuhu.
Akashad vayuhu.
Vayoragnihi.
Vayoragnihi.
Agnerapah.
Agnerapah.
Adbhyah prithvi.
Adbhyah prithvi.
Prithivya oshadhayah.
Prithivya oshadhayah.
Oshadhivyo annam.
Oshadhibhyonnam.
Oshadhivyo anyam annam.
Oshadhibhyo annam.
Annat purushaha.
Annat purushaha.
Now, this is an order which it may not agree with us what we think or so, but we will try to understand what they are saying. How the whole creation is actually a cycle. It starts from the consciousness, Atma, and we should remember that it is not Parinama Srishti. According to Vedanta, the whole creation is not Parinama Srishti or material creation. What is that? Parinama Srishti means if we melt the watch, then some material will be there, but the watch will no longer be there, it will no longer function. That means materially it is changing. Or say the plastic has been made into the watch. So the plastic is no more available, it has become a clock. The cause has undergone a change, it has become the result, the effect. So it is called Parinama Srishti. Suppose the sun is radiating Every moment the sun radiates light, the hydrogen inside the sun is becoming helium. So the proportion of hydrogen inside the sun is decreasing and the proportion of helium inside the sun is increasing. That means every moment the sun is undergoing change. It is not the sun which was 1 second before. So the sun, to radiate light and heat, it is undergoing a permanent change. That is the Parinama Srishti. Any material creation that we see in the world, there the cause undergoes a change to produce the effect. When we are putting the firewood in the fire, it is becoming ash and giving rise to heat. The rice is becoming eatable rice, getting boiled, and it will get degenerated also. It will never become the original rice particles. Everywhere it is like that. Now, in the case of the truth, ultimate truth, the world is appearing, we say it is Vivatta Srishti. That means apparential creation. Why? Because the world is appearing on the consciousness, by which the consciousness there is no change at all. It is like somewhat like your mind. Suppose in the moment you sleep, the mind creates another Vyaktitva, another personality for you, and it creates the whole dream world. In the dream world there will be war, there might be an aircraft carrier, there might be missiles, bombing, all these things are happening. So completely a huge world is created of activities and all. The moment you get up from the dream, oh, everything is gone. The mind remains the same. You get back your mind. Sometimes you cannot even remember the dream. No change has taken place. Sometimes in the memory levels you will remember. Otherwise you will not remember also. So in this case you know, because you know that it is your mind and which has created the whole world, so you say that it is illusory. But this creation, why we are taking the example of the dream is that there has been, while it created the world, there was no change in the mind at all. Mind means the consciousness again. In creating the dream world, the mind did not undergo any change. Every night throughout your life you have seen so many dreams. The mind has not undergone any change. Even the thoughts are appearing in your mind. So many millions and trillions of thoughts are coming and going. The mind remains the same mind. So it can produce, this is the property of the consciousness, it can project anything without undergoing itself a change. That is why Shankaracharya has been using the example of, you must be knowing about it, the Rajju Sarpa. It's a very Shankaracharya was very much attracted to this illustration. Why? Because it is actually finding a snake in a rope. Suppose in the dusk you have gone out and you suddenly get frightened by seeing a snake. But actually there was no snake, it is a rope. When you discovered that it is a rope, immediately everything is gone and the snake has gone, everything is gone. But until then, you are seeing the snake, you are getting frightened. Has the rope become snake? Nothing has happened to the rope. The rope remains the rope there, but you are finding snake. So like that, these are when it is, something is projected, where the cause of the projection has not undergone any change at all. That is called Vivatta Srishti, apparential creation. So ultimately it is the whole universe which is appearing on the consciousness. By that Atma, Brahman or consciousness does not undergo any change at all. The world appears, disappears. That is why we call it illusory, but people do not understand. This illusion should not be misused. It doesn't mean that what you are doing will not have its cause and effect relation. Whatever you are doing will have its effect. Our life is bound by the causal chain. Even the thoughts, whichever thoughts are appearing in the mind, they have a causal background. You can change it. Suppose you go on putting noble thoughts in your mind, you see only noble pictures, noble films, noble stories you read, you listen to only noble talks, then what will happen? You will find the mind is producing good, noble thoughts. So you can change it. Everything is by cause. Otherwise the Shastras would not have been written. Shastras have been written because we can change our life. Everything in life can be changed if you give the proper input. If you are careful in giving the input, the output also will change. It is all causal, but in the ultimate level, in the appearing of the universe, it is not causal. It just appears and disappears. That is called Vivarta Srishti. So whenever our Shastras give the models, these models are different in different places to some extent. I think in Taittiriya itself another model will also appear. It is not always exactly similar, but some similarity will be there. But whenever the Srishti, the creational model is given, we should remember that it is all an krama or apparent, the appearance of the world which is following certain krama. Krama means order. So here it starts with tasmad ba etasmad atmanaha. Atmanaha is Panchami Vibhakti, from Atma. Here all are Panchami. Atmanaha akashaha. Then akashat vayuhu. Akashat is again Panchami Vibhakti, vayuhu. So here the krama is from this Atma. They have already discussed now. They have given what is Brahman, what is Atma, everything has been discussed. So immediately they are saying that how this world has come. He says from this Atma itself, Akashaha Sambhahuva, Sambhutaha, Samyak Bhutaha. This has appeared like a giant and very, very real to us. The Atma is not real, the consciousness is not real to us because we don't interact, we don't see it. But the world is very much real to us. So that is how the basis of the world is the space, the sky, the space. Akasha, Akasha, Sambhutaha. Tasmad va etasmad atmanaha akashaha sambhutaha. From this Atma, the space is born. Why? They are going to give that Panchabhuta model. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. This Panchabhuta model is the 5 sensory perceptions we have. That is, we have the perception of sound, perception of touch, perception of vision, perception of tongue, rasa, the taste, and perception of smell, that is gandha. Now these perceptions, these 5-fold perceptions, they make our world. They make our world. How? Suppose if you think of any of these perceptions, vision, up to the retina you have if there is an external world, it is up to the retina. Then behind the retina, nerves are going to the brain. What are the nerves carrying? Is there any picture? Is there any color? Is there anything? If you open our system of perception, it is all electrical pulses. Whether it is vision, whether it is sparsha, just below the skin wherefrom the nerves are going. Nerves can carry only electrical pulses. It cannot carry any smell, it cannot carry any vision or anything, they are carrying only electrical pulses. If you cut open your neck, you will find the nerves are carrying only electrical pulses. If you can generate the electrical pulses here, you will have similar vision and similar sense and all perceptions also. Nowadays they create the electrical pulses by putting an electronic gadget. They give you the perception of vision, smell and all that in a virtual world. Because those electrical pulses, they are exciting the different cortices, different regions of the brain. And they are giving two different sensations, etc. One is vision, one is sound, one is this, etc. That also, if you take the EEG, you will not find any sound, vision, anything there. You will find only electrical signals moving there. So where is it created, the world? Tell me, where is it created? So, the question is that our world is made of this fivefold fundamental perceptions because we have the five indriyas. If we had 8 indriyas, then the world will be eightfold. If we develop some new indriyas sensitive to electricity, magnetism or nuclear forces and all, the world will be different. So here, because we have 5 sense organs, the models in our Shastras are all based on those 5 sensations. That we should remember. So here it is tasmad va etasmad atmanah akashah sambhudah. From the Atma, first the born is space. Space means where some vibration can take place. Shabda is the guna of the space. Now, it is not Shabda which we are always hearing. Suppose there is no air, some Shabda, aura, but the vibration will be there. The space quality is the vibration. Akashad Vayuhu. From the space comes the air, which carries the sparsha also. Touch, when the Vayu moves. Actually, the Vayuhu, in our Shastras, it represents prana also, the life forces also. Both meaning in there. Vayor Agnihi. From that comes the Agnihi, which is giving us the vision, rupa, light as well as heat. Agner Apaha. From fire it is the water. And Abhyaha Prithivi. From water by condensation, it is the solid earth. Then Prithivya Oshadhaya. When the earth is there the herbs are growing. Oshadibhyo Annam. When the herbs are growing, from that we are getting the food. Annat Purushaha. And what their meaningful here is that the Purusha is Annamayaha. That we are finally a product of food. Now in that, Purushaha, the word means Pureshete iti Purushaha. That means the consciousness is there in that body, mind, personality. And when we can get back to that consciousness, we find that that is the reality in which the whole universe is appearing to be. This is the truth here. That it starts from Atma, finishes in Atma, starts from the Atma in a cosmic sense and finishes in a personal sense where the Atma has the capability to realize his cosmic dimension also. This is the important point which you should not miss. It's the description of the creation is only to point out that the whole universe, its cosmic dimension is nothing but appearing in the Atma, which is found in your own Hrid Guha, Buddhi Guha, Parame Bowman. It is right in you. And you can start there and and realize your cosmic dimension. If you think of the world, then you have to think of the infinitude of the objective infinitude, the cosmic dimension. Okay, we'll stop today. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Om Sahana Vavatu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Sahaviryam Karavavahai.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Tat Sat Jai Guru.